Good morning and welcome to this event here with the Lenovo Smart Office products, where Lenovo will present the products together with Microsoft, talking about how to upscale your business with Teams and Teams Room systems. Sorry for the delay here. We had some technical issues with the platform, but we should be up and running now. And with that, I think I will hand it over to Robert, who will start the presentation, and in a couple of minutes, we hopefully will have Martin C from Lenovo joining. He has some issues with the sign in, but he will be there soon. So, Robert, you can take it away now.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. I will just share my screen. Oh, like that. And my name is Robert Karlsson. I work as a partner technical specialist with Microsoft for the EMEA region. That means that I work with all the vendors and the partners that we have within the Teams Rooms ecosystem. And that is a lot of different vendors and partners, and it's a very much growing ecosystem as well. So I'm very pleased to be here to talk to you about Teams Room devices and what we have around how we talk about meeting rooms and how to design different solutions for different room types, and also what we are thinking of what to do in those rooms, because it's not just only a room, it's also what we'd like to achieve with a meeting in that room. And the agenda from my part is to talk about the strategy that we have for Teams certified devices and the Teams rooms as such. And also, as I said, the considerations that you might have when talking about whatever sorts of rooms you have in your organization, and how that works also for the customers and partners that you help as well. But we can't really start talking about Teams rooms and Teams meetings without talking about the Teams momentum that we have seen and what we have done during the last year. And of course, Teams is the hub for teamwork and collaboration. It's the place where we go on a day-to-day basis to do callings, meetings, and chat and collaboration. And we are bringing that both from an internal in-organization perspective and also for whatever conversations that we have with partners and customers. So it's the place to be when setting up a team, when doing a chat, when doing any type of collaboration. And of course, we have also moved a lot of things from formerly Skype for Business, such as the meetings, the callings, which is a huge part of Teams today. And we have done that, and we have also elaborated on it, and we have enhanced the experience with a lot of new features and also new solutions from our hardware vendors as such. And of course, this is not only a solution, a platform for your internal or partner and customer use. It's also it's a platform where our partners and ourselves can build other applications into this, so it makes the portal for whatever work I need to do during a day. For my processes, for any type of technical solutions that will bring the value of being in Teams, being connected, and not having to jump around to different other solutions. So we bring our partners' ecosystem into Teams as a platform to be able to work and to be able to stay there all day. And of course, this last year, more or less exactly 1 year since we started the shutdown in the Nordics and the rest of the world, and just looking back to the last year, we have seen a huge momentum, of course, and an uptake in Teams users, and also in how much time we spend in Teams. So just looking back to before the pandemic, we had around 30 to 40 million users in the March timeframe last year. And I think this figure is from September, October, and we said that we have more than 115 million daily active users. That means users that are doing, transacting, having calls, having meetings all day and each day. And that also reflects in the collaboration minutes that we see. So today we talk about that minutes spent in Teams, that's a 30 billion meeting plus today for chat, meeting, calling, collaboration, whatever. So it's a lot of things going on in the platform, and that also reflects in the momentum that we see and all the things that we put in here, because we are really expanding with more features, more solutions, more hardware coming from our partners to really move with our customers and the demand that you have on us as a vendor. And the last year, we have started to talk about hybrid, and hybrid has been a buzzword for different reasons. We have the hybrid office, we have the hybrid workplace, we have the hybrid meeting, and of course, a lot of other use of that as well. But when we talk about it, we talk about it that it's important that a meeting today that might consist of more people outside the office than before. So for instance, when I, for 1 year ago, talked to customers, we talked about that we had 70% of the people in a meeting in an office environment and 30% were in other environments like home offices or cafes or what have you. Today, I would say that is at least equal or even more turnaround in the opposite. So 70 to 80% of the attendees in a meeting today sit on their own client. They are in a home office. They are using Teams as a platform, but use it from their personal client, if it's a PC, Mac, or a mobile client. And like the rest are in an office environment. And that makes it very much turn around on what we should focus on and what when we drive, for instance, innovations. Because when we were in the old times, it was sufficient to have like 4 video streams in a meeting, because that covered the meeting rooms that were connected. And then we had some people just perhaps dialing in through a phone number or something. Today, it's the opposite. So we have to have much more video streams. We have to bring interactions and reactions into the meeting so that all people can feel included and all people can feel that they are also contributing to what's going on in that meeting. So it's a turnaround, and we have to think of the meeting as a concept completely different. And that also brings me to the meeting as such, because we talk about meetings in Teams as a before, during, and after experience. And that is, that is driven of that fact that meetings is much more than just the actual event taking place right now. So before an event, we have chatted and collaborated perhaps on the presentations that we should drive for this meeting. We have the history of doing that and everything else that we have done in that Teams channel or in that Teams environment. So it's easy for us to be prepared before the meeting. We know what we should talk about. We know what actions we have had before and such. During the meeting, we take part of all the innovations and everything around like AI for transcriptions, AI for using another background, AI for perhaps the intelligent speakers that we presented last week, where we also can have voice pickups from all the people in the meeting room, which means that we can know who is speaking and then can make that available after in a transcript. So we're bringing much more value to the actual meeting today than we were able to do just like a year ago, because there's so much innovations going on. And we also want to use that technology to have that follow-up and after meeting, so we have something to work with. We have a transcript of actions and what to be expected for the next meeting, and then that collaboration continues. So for us, a meeting experience is much more before and after than only the actual meeting taking place. So if we transition this into a meeting room experience, it's very much the importance today to get more things into the meeting rooms so that they feel included, because so many other people are sitting on their personal client, like the mobile or the PC. So today we have to think in another direction than just 1 year ago, so that we could give the inclusiveness for both the people in the meeting and those that are outside, the meeting room and those that are outside. And that also is something that we work very much and hard with our vendors and partners to bring that experience in a good way, so that we have hardware and software in that combination to bring much more value to the meetings. And when we talk about devices from Microsoft, it's important to see that it's something that relies on different pillars. So firstly, a device that is Teams certified should bring that familiar experience. It should be something that I feel confident to use. I recognize more or less the client, if it's a client-based solution like a phone or a PC client or even a room. It's more or less the same experience, so that I feel confident to go and perhaps click join on that console on the table to start that meeting. It should also be something that is inclusive and also brings more value. So when we develop our platform, we also do that in very tight collaboration with the vendors, which means that, for instance, a device that is personal today, like a headset, has a Teams button on it. That Teams button can interact with the Teams platform from my hardware. So we also bring that value between software and hardware in a very good way, so that we can bring even more value to the certified devices than perhaps any device that is not certified. The certification is also a quality stamp. So when we certify, for instance, a room device, we also bring that as a device that is certified for different room sizes and different work styles, which means that we also can recommend the devices to be bringing value and also be sufficient in quality for audio pickup or for what the video device are capable of, so that we know that if we put that device in a large room, it also is suitable for that large room. And from an IT perspective, it's also important that we give the IT people that tool of having control and being able to work with the devices in a good way. So a Teams certified device, like a room solution or a Teams phone, also lights up in Teams Admin Center, where you as a partner, you as a customer, can work with the device, see usage, see health, and also update and manage it in a very good way. So this is the foundation that all the certified devices lays upon. Then we divide it into shared devices and personal devices, and I will very, very fast go through the different solutions that we have and just point at some highlights. So when we talk about peripherals, that is the personal device many times. It's the headset or the speaker pack or the speakerphone. But it can also be something that we use in a meeting room. It's like a camera, for instance, that we could have also as a certified for having in meeting rooms. So it's something that brings value, mostly from a personal perspective, but also can be connected into the room experience depending on what type of device it is. Then we have the Teams phones, and Teams phones are Android-based solutions. They are also having a huge take-up during the pandemic, due to the fact that you would like to have something more, perhaps, to have your communication on, besides of having it on your PC when you're in the home office. And a variant of the Teams phone is the Teams display, because that is, from the beginning, like the Lenovo ThinkSmart View, was actually a Teams phone with that software on it, but then evolved during last year to have a Teams display category instead, which is a much more immersive experience with the phone capabilities, so that you can make your calls, you can enter meetings with it, but it also brings the value of being a Teams device, so that you have your channels, your chats, your Teams in that device. So I have it on my desk, which means that I could use my PC for a lot of things, but I tend to do communication on my Teams display, because then I can offload the work from the PC to that display and use that for communication. And it also bring, like in this time when I'm in a webinar, I can glance at my Teams display to see if something is happening in my Teams chats or in my Teams channels at the same time. So it's a very good device to have as a companion. And then one might ask, why a Surface Hub for personal use? Yeah, but that is because some people took their Surface Hubs home from the offices and used them for personal use during the pandemic. We'll see if they get back to the office or if they keep them in the home offices, but it's a use case that we're seeing quite a lot of. And then moving into Teams rooms. And Teams rooms are devices that are purpose-built for Teams meetings. We have different vendors. Lenovo is one of them, that it makes great devices that are used to control the meeting, that has audio and video capabilities, which brings you into that experience of just entering the room. You can see your meeting on the console on the table. You go up to that and just press join. It's very easy to use. You feel confident that that meeting start only takes like 3 to 5 seconds from you press the button to when the meeting has started. And this is also something that we, the same way that we talked about before, can manage in a good way from Teams Admin Center or from the premium service that is our managed service that we bring to customers, so that we can take care of the full experience from a customer with our personnel 24/7. So there's different ways to handle this and to work with it. It's purpose-built, so it's meant to be in the room. It's a design that the vendor can choose themselves, but it's a software, and there are recommendations and guidelines from Microsoft how to do this in a certified way. And we have 2 flavors of Teams rooms. So we have Teams rooms on Windows, and we have Teams rooms on Android. And the Teams rooms on Windows are the purpose-built solution that could scale from the smallest room up to the very, very large room with specific capabilities. There's a large space of or a large ecosystem around Teams rooms for Windows, where you can tailor your experience with different sorts of mics, like ceiling tile mics or very specific array of extended microphones. You have a lot of different camera settings and other solutions. So the Teams rooms on Windows is a very large solution set ecosystem that you can choose from depending on what type of room and what you would like to do in that room. But it's also very easy just to put like a Lenovo hub into the room, which has both the console where you can tailor and you can do your meeting. You have microphones and a speaker built in. Just add a camera, and then you have your room get to go and just go in there and start doing the meetings. The Android solutions is a more it's a more fixed solution. You have like a bar that you put over or under your screen, and that is based then on a compute part based on Android. So it's a bit more closed-in solution. It brings that ease of use and very simple solution to admin from the Teams admin portal, because it's purpose-built just to be a room device. And it comes in different form factors, and it's a growing ecosystem as well. And then here you can also see the Surface Hub again, and then perhaps more built in that environment it was intended to. And the Surface Hub actually is a very good companion device, where you can have like the Teams rooms on Windows, so you can have a Lenovo hub in the room. You can bring that Surface Hub into that meeting, and with proximity join, we can connect them to each other. So when I start the meeting, I will start the actual meeting on the hub. I will have my video and audio enabled from that camera setting and that good audio setting that I have. And then I will have the collaboration experience on the Surface, which means that will be used to whiteboard or to bring up documents or to do that collaboration in the meeting room. And they are connected to each other in a very, very, very good way. And speaking of the rooms, we try to help the partners and the customers to think about what they need for a room, what type of room they have, and then what they would like to achieve in a room setting. So it's also very important to talk about recommendations depending on what type of setting that you have. So we have built a matrix, and this is something that we are happy to share with you as a partner or customer, and to use as some sort of foundation for thinking about what type of solution or hardware should we put into rooms. And we have divided into, in this case, 7 different room types. We scale it from the large executive office, which is that large office that might have a desk to sit on and to use that as the normal way for that person in the room. And then we have some sort of table and perhaps a display on another wall where we can have that small meeting, bringing a few people into that room. So it's a multi-purpose single room where you also sometimes tend to have meetings in. We have the focus room. That's that small ad hoc room where you just go in and perhaps have a one-to-one, or if you like to set up a meeting with someone else. It's normally, I would say before the pandemic, not used with any equipment, so you just bring your device. But what we've seen during this last year is that many people would like to bring your meeting into a room and just have that one-click join experience. So we see many, many more of these smaller rooms being equipped today with Teams Rooms client and have that experience. So it's no difference what type of room you actually enter in the office. Then you have the open collaboration space. That is that space that could be used for many different purposes. And I think that is the space where you feel creative and you want to do a collaboration with people in the room, but also to bring people outside into that experience. And then, of course, you have the small, medium, and large conference rooms, which I would say are the majority of rooms that we see today. And they could be used for different purposes, of course. And the room on the right side is that specific, perhaps tailor-made room that could be used for conferences, could be used for like an auditorium or education or such. That is that special room that you might want to tailor in a good way to have that different experience, or move around chairs and be depending on how many people you have. So we try to divide it into different categories. Of course, you then have capacity, and that I would say have changed the last year. So let's see where that ends up, how many people we should be in rooms going forward. And then we have the dimensions. And this is how we divide the different room categories into capacity dimensions. And of course, you could do it out of your own settings, but this is something to work with as a foundation, I would say. And speaking of that, then, we have also defined that we think there are at least two, but of course there might be even more, but at least two different meeting types that we should take into consideration. The first one is the meet and present. This is more like this type of event. This is more like perhaps a meeting where we have one presenter or multiple presenters, but we do more of one-to-many, or we have a conversation around it. But it's not that interactive in that sense that we need perhaps to bring a collaboration solution like the Surface Hub into that room. It's more like bringing your presentation up, presenting that, and focusing on that fixed content. And the meet and co-create is that more informal setting, or that meeting room where you think that here we will have these Scrum meetings or these ad hoc meetings that we need to bring perhaps a whiteboard in, that analog whiteboard that we can bring in through having that displayed into that meeting. For instance, for the Teams rooms on Windows, we can actually add an extra camera that is pointing at the whiteboard, so that when we light up that camera, we will bring the whiteboard experience into that meeting. That is called Content Cam. That is a solution that's available today. So we actually bring the whiteboard experience, the analog whiteboard experience, into the meeting for all the people, no matter where they are. And the same could go also for the Surface Hub in the companion mode that I just spoke about, which also brings the digital whiteboard or the digital collaboration into that meeting experience. So that is the more or less formal and co-creation way of thinking of this. This means that we could, depending on this, think about it and bring perhaps product capabilities as well. So if we have this in mind, we can start thinking of building a matrix that then covers the type of rooms that we have, the different solutions and vendors that we have chosen. This is just a mock-up for different settings for a fictitious customer. So this is not a recommendation, of course, for you, but it's more like how it could be built up. So we can build then our matrix that we have in our organization, or what I as a partner build for my customers, taking in consideration what they have actually for their meeting rooms. And we have also made a lot of different visions or pictures of this. So just having a few examples could then be space configuration for a small conference room. That could be a room that has different settings of tables and chairs, of course, as you see here, but also that could then reflect on the fact that we would like to have, for instance, a console on the table. We have some sort of bar solution under that could be then vision and audio, or video and audio in the same solution, and then a dual screen setup. And a dual screen means that you can then work with content on one side and the people on the other side. Of course, you can make it with this 85 as well, because that is something that could be worked on as a single solution or a single display solution. So there are many ways to think about this. Just move on to the medium solution. Then we see that many times we need to expand perhaps with microphones so that we have a broader array of pickup for the voice. We might also expand into other settings for speakers. We still go with a dual screen setup because we think that is very valuable. But also here we have placed a Surface Hub on the objective wall, on the opposite wall, to have that experience of collaboration in the same meeting setup. And you can do the same then working on the large conference room. So take this as more like examples. You could build your own, and you can have that thinking of building a matrix for your customers as well. So I think that is something that could be worked on as the way forward. When we certify devices like the Lenovo Hub, we certify them for different room settings so that we know, you know as a customer, what type of room setting that is certified of and how much that also covers them from an audio perspective. And with that said, I would say that my part is over. And let's see if we have Martin in the meeting so he can continue with the Lenovo pieces.
Yes, thank you, Robert. I think Martin is here. Before we hand it over, we got one single question regarding the Surface Hub. I think the question is, could it be used in a 2 by 5 meters room? Yes or no?
And I have to admit, and I will stop sharing my screen because I think that is what makes this like an infinity screen. I can check it up because I don't normally work with the Surface Hub as per se, so I don't have the exact meters. But as we now have the 2 sizes of Surface Hubs, we also then expand into larger rooms with the 85-inch than we did with the 50-inch. So I can see if I can look that up during the meeting.
Thank you. Martin, are you here? Martin, can you unmute? I can see he's in the meeting. Okay, I think we are having some issues here with Martin. Martin, if you're there, please unmute and share your presentation. Okay, Martin has some issues with the share feature. Hopefully, we're trying to switch to another browser to solve it. It will just be a couple of seconds. Oh, sorry for the delay. Martin is having technical issues, and we tried several things, but it doesn't seem to be working. I think what we should do is that we should end this webinar now, and then we have a follow-up webinar on the 16th of March, which you should sign up for, where Martin will go through the products there. Instead, I'm very sorry for these issues. But that's what sometimes happens with these technical installations. So what I will do now, I will end the event here, and sign up for the next event on the 16th, and hopefully it will work there. Thank you very much for your time, and Robert, thank you very much for your presentation. It was really great. Thank you.
Thank you.